next year. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Better Luck Next Year, your favorite sports potpourri podcast with now more likes on Facebook than you have fingers, folks. We are really turning it up. With me, as always, is Max, I do not drink domestic beers, Max, and Alan, I was in the pool just.
That's right, in the deep end.
All right, how are we doing today, boys?
Doing well, Mark. How are you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. We are at that special time of year, the madness, as some people call it, and obviously that is the main topic at hand in the sports world.
A lot of people call March the best sports month of the entire year.
I can see it. Those couple weeks are exciting. You really don't have much other than basketball and obviously the women's tournament, which is where the madness really starts.
NFL free agency, baseball spring training. There's a lot going on.
But truly, the madness is the women's tournament. I think almost everyone can fill out a perfect bracket. If you have all 4 ones going to the Final Four, I think you got it.
I like to go with the prop bet. How many dunks? 0 is 1 every single year.
That's wild.
Not the best odds, but it's safe money.
You go UConn and Tennessee every year, free money.
You're stealing. Does Vegas even put lines out on the women's games?
No.
Kind of a waste of time. Anyway, let's move right into it right now with the men's March Madness, folks.
And there you are, you're running for your life, you're a shooting star, in all the years, no one knows just how hard you worked, but now it shows, in one shining moment, it's all on the line, in one shining.
I asked you guys to be fighters. You know what I saw out there? Muhammad Ali.
Obviously, everyone's interested to know our picks. We are probably the smartest people in sports. I don't blame you. What we are going to do is not give you kind of how we do things until the tourney starts, so that's something to enjoy. Right now, I think, looking into it, we'll start at probably when everyone's, with the Warren Buffett $1 billion, everyone wants to talk about, how you're going to fill out that bracket, who's going to be the bust, because there's always, it's never going to be, it's never going to be who you think it's going to be. So who right now, looking at your bracket, would you say is the biggest bust right now? Just who can make that big upset?
Mark, I'm coming off a rough year where my Gonzaga Bulldogs were number 1 in the nation last year, where they exited early to Wichita State, who basically has not lost since, and they got a real tough draw. They played Oklahoma State as a 9 seed.
Ouch.
And Oklahoma State's guard, Marcus Smart, quite the character. I got a joke for you here. Why did Marcus Smart leave the game early?
Well, I don't know, Max.
I can't imagine.
He wanted to beat the crowd. Now remember, Smart was suspended for 3 games earlier this year for shoving a fan. Top 5 team preseason. It's going to be a great first round game. Let's get up back to the upsets. Now, we talked earlier about that 12-5 matchup. You got any stats over there?
Yeah, the 12-5 is always one you want to look at when picking an upset. Read on a couple of different sources today. This is a statistic that's not this particular statistic, but this fact is pretty generally known that this game's a good upset bet. And ever since 1985, when Kentucky, the then number 12 seed, who upset Washington, a number 5 seed, the 5-12 matchup has become a key opening round game for upsets. So since 1990, at least one number 12 seed has upset a number 5 seed in the first round every year except 2000 and 2007.
Wow.
So that's 24 years running now, 23 years running, 21 out of 23 times.
That is...
Yeah, so if you're going to pick an upset, the 5-12 is a safe one to pick. In 3 of those seasons, since 1990, including last year actually, The 12 seed won 3 out of the 4 matchups.
Made it all the way to the Sweet 16 then.
Yeah, that's right. So 3 out of the 4 games last year, the 12 beat the 5. If you're going with an upset, I would recommend the 12-5. Pick your favorite, at least one of them.
The two that I like, SF Austin over VCU.
Absolutely not.
Austin are riding a 28-game winning streak. Player of the Year, Jacob Parker. Mark, those Lumberjacks are very, very dangerous.
I like VCU. I think VCU is a rock solid team from everything I looked into. I really don't think. I've seen a lot of people think that Stephen F. Austin's the kind of the hot pick right now to beat VCU. I think VCU can maybe even win a couple games.
Well, when does-
SF Austin, those are the Lumberjacks, right?
yes.
We like to call them the Dexters here on Better Luck Next
Oh
Year.
yes, and spoiler.
Where did Batista get that beer?
And where did it go?
Oh, we'll never know. That's an inside joke for only us three. So everyone listening, screw you guys.
The other 12-5 matchup I like is North Dakota State over Oklahoma. A Spokane game,
Yeah, I do like North Dakota State.
and the Bison are first in the nation in field goal percentage. And their one key ingredient of an upset, their big guy, he's passing on the NBA to fulfill his full-time dream of becoming a farmer.
Becoming
Really?
a farmer, so this
Yeah.
is it for him.
He's 6'10", white guy, all the skills to make the NBA, and he wants to follow his dad's path in the fields.
I do like North Dakota State. One that we talked about earlier is New Mexico. They did get bounced early, and they kind of have somewhat of a history of getting bounced earlier on. But last year, they were really highly ranked. I can't remember. They were number 3 or
I think
something.
they were 3 seed, yeah.
And they lost. In this, they have everyone back. So I like them to go. I really don't know if they can get past Kansas into the Sweet 16. We'll see. So now, just to kind of switch gears, I think those are kind of the upsets. Obviously, the 12-5 is the hot pick, as Alan told you. What is your favorite moment of all the madnesses that you have seen? We'll start here with Alan.
Oh, favorite madness moment. Well, I believe that my most memorable tournament was when the University of Minnesota Golden Gophers went to the Final Four. Bobby, help me out with some of these
Jackson.
names. Bobby Jackson, High Sox. But the problem with that is I don't believe that counts anymore because I think they cheated. So that run perhaps never happened. But I have specific moments and memories of that run that they had, and I couldn't have been more than 12 or 13, which is perfect prime age for following your college team. So I'm gonna have to go with the U of M run when they made it the Final Four. I'm gonna go with 94, but I could be wrong because that would put me at 10. So
All right. So you know what? Even if it didn't count, you'll always have those memories.
they can't steal those memories
Not
away
at all.
from me, despite the illegal scholarships they gave.
Yes. Mine, quick here. I think, everyone... I'm a Duke fan, so the Leitner one's obvious. But I really like the Bryce Drew one. They've shown that forever. Playing at Valpo, that last second, just prairie tosses up from just over the half-court line. That's just the kind of magic you see.
Russian judges gave him a 10 on that swan dive afterward.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Floor burns for days.
And Max, I think yours had to do something with Adam Morrison?
No, that is false. I'm going with time winding down a basket against the Tar Heels. What do? You call timeout when you don't have any timeouts.
Oh, Weber.
Chris Webber, Fab 5, fail.
That hurts.
That's a brutal memory for that guy.
He'll never live that down. I mean, he could go on to win 10 championships in the NBA, and he'll still be the guy that called a timeout.
Yeah, that's true. Mark, I'm not sure if we're moving on to anything else just yet, but there's a couple other statistics I wanted to give because everybody's filling out their brackets. Well, by the time you hear this, your bracket will have been filled out. So maybe you took this advice, maybe you didn't. But a quick stat: 25 out of the past 29 years, at least one of the top 4 seeds has gone out in the first round. The 1s and 2s never go out. I don't think they have gone out.
Minus Gonzaga.
They've been out.
They almost lost. They did not lose.
That's true. That's true. Just last year. So 1s and 2s makes it, but that means the 3s and the 4 seeds. One of those 8 teams, I guess, starting Thursday and Friday, will be out of it, based on statistics.
First
So,
round.
in the first round, 25 of the last 29 years. So, and all of this being said, of course, just going straight chalk is the safest way to pick out your bracket. You'll probably win more often than not if you just go straight chalk.
What's the fun in that? Once a year.
There isn't very much fun in that. That's
Not at all. But I mean, it is safe. You're never. I can't remember. I think there's only been a couple times where you've actually had all 4 number ones. Just a couple years ago, it happened in the Final Four, but it's very, very rare that happens.
The most annoying thing of the week is when an upset happens and that guy at work says, "I almost picked that."
Or when the first team, let's say a number 3 team, loses. Well, there goes my bracket. Well, I'm done. Anyway, so now we'll kind of move along. We'll get right into our picks here because I know you guys are thirsty for those picks. What do you guys have? Max, your Final Four and then your champion.
Final Four. The top left bracket, I'm going the Florida Gators, the overall number 1 seed. Pretty easy path there. Bottom left, it's down to Michigan State loses. Not what everybody else has. And I'm going with Virginia. Top defensive team in the nation. Tony Bennett from Washington State.
going chalk.
I truly believe Virginia's going to be the first number 1 to lose.
Mark, why don't you go with your South and East at this point?
So I have Florida, I'm going pretty much the whole darn way, and then I do have Michigan State. I'm not into Virginia. I actually did watch them play. I know they beat Duke in the ACC title game, but they just don't really impress me all that much.
They got a Chelan boy.
So, you know what, Mark? I'm trying to be a contrarian here. I think we need to argue more.
Yeah.
But I actually had Florida coming out of the South, and I like Michigan State coming out of the East as well.
And Max, what do you got on the right side getting into that Final Four?
I think everybody's going Arizona up here, but if Oklahoma State beat Gonzaga, that's going to be a tough game. So I'm going to go a little bit different. I think that winner of that Creighton-Wisconsin game is going to make it to the Final Four. And I'll go Dougie Fresh McDermott. Did you know he meditates before every game?
Really? He's like a Zen master.
He brings in the guy that Phil Jackson used to use,
Really?
and he actually hypnotizes him before every single game.
Huh.
I have Baylor making a little bit of a run. I think Baylor's going to go ahead and beat Creighton, and I have them going into the Elite Eight and losing to Arizona. So I have Arizona going there, and then at the bottom, I have Louisville taking it. I don't know why I picked against Wichita State. I just feel like when they get matched up with Louisville, the reigning champ, I don't know if they're going to have enough. Even though they've done nothing but prove people wrong all year. I don't think Wichita State can hang with Louisville.
The winner of that Sweet 16 game is going to the Final Four.
Absolutely.
For me, I've got Oklahoma going from the West.
Wow.
Oklahoma going from the West. That being said, against your 5-12 pick, Max, North Dakota State, they are quickly becoming the best team in the Northwest as far as Minnesota and North Dakota are concerned. That being said, I don't like them that much. I like Oklahoma going, and in the Midwest, I actually have Duke going to the Final Four. They have their first round game is very close to home. They're going to ride that home field advantage into the Final Four.
Now that Oklahoma pick, this isn't Bob Stoops in football, Al. You realize that?
Yeah, I know, but I just think they got some going for them this year. I haven't been watching them every game by any means, but they've got that favorable. They've just got that favorable matchup, and then I think they can kind of scoot along towards the upper half of that West Division.
Blake Griffin ain't walking through that door, Al.
Why don't you go watch them? They're in Spokane.
Are they really?
300 miles away?
You know what? I might just have to root them along to
will.
make my Final
He's
Four
Oklahoma's
picks
number one
valid.
fan, where the wind comes sweeping down the plains. Who do we have winning it all? I basically gave it away. I think Florida is going to take it. I actually have 2 number 1s in the final. I have Florida and Arizona, and I think Florida is the best team so far in somewhat of a weak overall field.
When you're having a rough week, throw up the Shockers. Wichita State, undefeated year.
Really, going the whole way with it, huh? Well, I like Florida winning it all over Duke in the championship game.
Florida over Duke. Well, folks, that is our March Madness here, and
The ball is tipped, and there you are. You're running for your life.
guys to be fighters. You know what I saw out there? Muhammad Ali.
Time is short.
Right now, we are going to take time to thank one of our new Sapphire sponsors. Thank you, Domino's, and we'll kick it over to you. Us folks here at Domino's have a long history of taking in some phone calls, and I think you all know how that goes.
Hello. I'd like to order a pizza. A pizza. Can you hear me? Can you hear me at all? I'd like to order a pizza. Anchovies, pepperoni.
You know, folks, you can't order online now, and quite frankly, we don't like talking to people on the phone.
Why can't anybody hear me? I've been on hold for 5 minutes.
Folks, order online and never ever call us again. We hate you and we will spit in your pizza.
Is anyone there?
And no, you're not in a tunnel. Go ahead and call Domino's. We have some fresh new Parmesan bites, only $9.99. Thank you, Domino's. Great new sponsor here from Sapphire. Sapphire sponsor a low membership. I think almost anyone can get in. And we're going to do something a little different now. We do have our Conversation for the Nation going. And again, folks, that's hashtag Conversation for the Nation. I almost had that trending on Twitter. I think we did have about 2 of those going. So what we did last week, we had, or last show, we did have an NFL player coming. And this week, we decided to leave it up to our loyal viewership. We took in some questions, and you guys are going to go ahead and kind of kickstart this conversation. And I have no idea what the questions are. Only one man in here knows these questions, so we're just going to kind of be flying from the seat of our pants. And Max is the man with the master plan and also the questions. Max, what do you got for the first one?
Okay, so we're back. So we asked the fans to write to us on Twitter to tweet in their questions. We're going to read these live. None of us have looked at these questions. And the first one we have here from John from Spokane. Is it true that Jesus Montero is training for the Tour de France?
Hey, John, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening and thanks for tuning in. And, you know, I have heard, now I do have sources close to the situation that say Jesus is, in fact, on the bike, training right now at very high elevations, at least a couple hundred feet above sea level, really trying to get that going. So that could be true.
You know what? I'm not sure if it's the Tour de France or if it's the Tour of Italy, the famous Olive Garden menu item that consists of lasagna, fettuccine alfredo, as well as there's a third one on there. Lasagna,
I believe it's chicken
fettuccine.
parmesan.
It's chicken parmesan
Yes.
to go with the breadsticks and salad. as well.
Unlimited breadsticks, folks. Delicious.
So it's either the Tour de France or the Tour of Italy. One of the two, John. We're not quite certain.
I'd like to make a joke about Lance Armstrong if I must. There's no way he possibly could have been using steroids. In the past 15 years, he hadn't hit a single home run.
So true. I mean, what are the odds?
Let's get on to the second question. This one's coming from Jordan.
Jordan, okay.
And Jordan
Thanks for
wants to
listening.
know, why better luck next year? Why not better luck this year?
Jordan, that sounds like a question from a typical Oregon fan. And, you know, it really, you have to think as an Oregon fan, it's never quite your year. So it's always next year, you know. We'll get him with a cute New Jersey and maybe we'll go out and actually get to a big game and not choke. So I think that's something that we always like to think here. And none of my teams have ever won a championship, so always next year.
I think that is the bottom line is when Better Luck Next Year began, none of our teams had reached that pinnacle. And that's not exactly the truth anymore with Max's favorite team, but you know what? We're always looking ahead, and you can always look ahead. But then, of course, if you head to BetterLuckNextYear.com, you will see our motto video based after Happy Gilmore.
And that's right, folks. That is a new website. It is new. It is BetterLuckNextYear.com. Check it out. Like us on Facebook. And remember, we are doing right now hashtag Conversation for the Nation. Next question, please.
This question, how many Creighton cheerleaders has Doug McDermott touched during his career?
Well, touched emotionally or touched physically?
I think we're sticking PG here,
Okay.
but I think we know what he was asking.
Well, technically, I mean, I don't know if they do a high five line as he's coming onto the court. He could be countless.
His points per game average is about 26 and a half. Which one's more?
Well,
Cheerleaders.
I mean, if you count, does it count the same cheerleaders every game? Because if he's high-fiving all the cheerleaders all the time, I can't speak to how big the Creighton's cheerleading staff is, but I'd guess they have 12 or so. Probably a couple really hulking big men
Right.
who weren't quite good enough at
The
real
follow-up
sports.
question was for his dad, who was also the head coach. How many cheerleaders has Greg McDermott touched?
Well, sometimes the head coach is dipping the fingers in a little bit more
For
than
his son?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's a tough one, you know. It's a tough one. I'm always going, when it comes to college athletics, I'm always going to err on the side of them touching more females than any other option.
I think if the situation at Penn State taught us anything, it's the coaches are typically going to do a little more touching than the actual athletes.
Oh, we might just be able to hear a pin drop after that.
Oh,
Let's move on to our fourth question.
too soon.
Is it true that Chris Hansen, who tried to get the Sonics back, secretly funded Get Out and Vote for marijuana legalization as a strategy to bring back the NBA to Seattle?
Now, can I have a quick question? Who asked that question?
This is from a man named Pete.
Pete.
Pete, huh? I wonder if he's ever gone by Pistol.
It would be a great name for him.
Be a
Pete.
great name for
Think
that
about
Pete
that.
guy. So I do not know the true answer to that, but I would imagine that if marijuana, as it is now, were legal in this state, that would be very attractive to NBA players.
Absolutely. I can't think of a population that smokes more weed than basketball players, whether it be college or pros.
You could have done a census at the 1969 Woodstock of how many people smoke weed, and then compare that to the current NBA rosters on different teams, and the NBA 2014 would still win.
Oh, absolutely.
Do they even try to stop weed smoking?
What's the point at this? I mean, you would have to suspend everybody.
It's funny because every single NBA player has deals with anxiety.
Oh yeah.
So
It's
they
all sports players, not just basketball. How about the two teams in the Super Bowl? Seattle
That's
and
true.
Denver.
That's true. It was the weed ball.
And clearly Russell Wilson's a pothead.
Percy Harvin tested positive for THC on his combine day before the Vikings signed him.
And I have a strong feeling that Marshawn Lynch might have fiddled with something a little stronger than marijuana at this time.
Yeah.
Next question from Marv. When is Jim Irsay making his guest appearance on Better Luck next year?
You know, Marv, that's a great question. Again, thank you for listening. And we actually tried to get Jim on. I know it's been a real rough time for him in the last couple days. So his people didn't quite reach back out to us. We'd love to get him on, but right now he's not quite ready to go. And we really want to send our thoughts and prayers to him that he stops drinking and driving, because
We called Jim, and surprisingly his phone went straight to voicemail.
Yeah, when the police have it in their possession, that usually happens. But I just can't wait for his next Twitter rant. His
I'm
next
excited.
sober Twitter rant. That's what I can't wait for. I've got a question here, Max. Maybe you should field this one right off the bat. With the local angle, of course. Should Russell Wilson have ever actually played two pro sports, baseball and football? Assuming he does, let's say, how would he rank among the best, like Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders? This comes from Just Optical in Mankato, Minnesota. John Just's Optical.
Wow, we got viewers all across the nation. This is Conversation with the Nation. I'm not the least bit surprised. Interesting question. Who's that from again?
It's from John Just
John
of
Just.
Just Optical.
Okay. Now, John,
He's a silver sponsor.
impossible to compare Russell Wilson to Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson. Freaks of the 1900s for the rest of time. I put him third right away on that list. Mark will argue that Russell would not have had a very solid baseball career. You can't judge a guy off of one spring training, 1 year.
he did a full season of minor league baseball and sucked.
I guarantee if you look at some of the greatest players of all time, they had their first season, they were terrible.
Who? In the minor leagues, in short season single A. Who sucked in short season single A and then all of a sudden blossomed into an all-star Cali? He wouldn't even be an everyday player in Major League Baseball.
Look at Miguel Cabrera's stats. It took him quite a while to get up to the bigs.
I bet he didn't suck in single A, short season. I bet he didn't even see short season single A. I'm not going to actually bet on that, but I bet he wasn't there long.
But you're a Falcons fan. You watch Dion play both sports. The times are different now. There's no way you can do it the same as they did in the 90s.
Not unless you're a really good athlete. Like, on top of the world athlete. Russell Wilson's a great athlete. Don't
Those
get me
guys
wrong.
were freaks.
He's unbelievable. He can run, he can pass, he's strong, but he's not a professional baseball player.
He has an attractive wife, though.
His wife is super ugly. Well, I'm telling you right now, like, if we had signed the Mariners, I say we because we're in Seattle, had signed Russell Wilson, one, we would have just been lambasted saying we're riding his coattails. People are calling us the team dumb right now for not signing him, which is hilarious. But he would be the worst player on the Seattle Mariners. In a lance, he would never be in spring training with the Seattle Mariners. The worst player. Think of the worst player on our team. He is light years worse than that.
Too many names flooded my mind at one point there.
Have you
So,
looked at his college stats?
Please enlighten me.
do we have a final conversation topic for the nation?
We do. Final question of the night. This one is from Todd.
Todd.
Todd, you're a closer for the Mariners. Better yet, you're a position player for the Mariners. What is your walk-in or your walk-up song?
That is a great question,
Mark,
Todd.
let's start with you.
Very good question, and that gift, the painting was a gift, Todd. You know, I'm not really sure. That's a tough question to be put on the spot with. I think I'd kind of want something kind of maybe fun and funny that the fans could listen to, so I'm going to go with Hall & Oates' Man Eater. I think the crowd would like that, and they'd think it was cool.
You know what? That's a great question, and I don't know if this is too obvious or not, but has anybody ever gone with Semisonic Closing Time?
I'm not really sure if that's ever been the case. You would think at some point.
It's a lame song,
When the
but...
song, I mean, like if you're coming out, Alan Just coming to close it down.
Closing Time. It's a bad song, but I mean, it's right there for you.
Closing
I thought it was Savage Garden. Fun fact about that song.
That's truly badly deep.
That song's actually about childbirth.
Oh, yeah?
Look it up. It's disgusting. Max, what about you? I mean, you are the most senior baseball player here. College All-American.
You dreamt about it one day in college as to what your music would be when you walk out.
Not as a pitcher. It'd be better as a hitter. I'm thinking back to old Mariners. Ichiro's walk-up song. Do you remember what it was, Mark? Last year here.
He always just did some weird techno, like, dance music.
Party rock anthem.
Really?
Ichiro's I think my song would be the same as Miguel Cabrera's, Feeling Myself.
I like that. That's pretty good.
I think we can all get into feeling each other.
I be everywhere, everybody know me. Super fresh with a dope style.
Maybe we should post our favorite and least favorite Mariners walk-up songs once the season starts, as of opening night,
Yeah.
on our website, betterlucknextyear.com.
I'm sure Justin Smoke's song is going to be terrible.
It'll be terrible, as per usual.
How can you get a base hit with the bases loaded listening to country music?
Don't worry, he won't get a hit with the bases loaded. All right, folks, it's time now. We're going to move right along to your favorite segment of the entire show, our Random Thought.
Oh, random thought time.
Random Thought time, and we're going to go with Mr. Just. What do you got for us?
Okay, movies should edit and cut, shot for shot, a different version than the original movie for the Blu-ray feature.
Same camera angle?
Different camera angle on every single shot.
Wow, that would, I feel like that's complicated.
It would be an entirely new movie, and it would be amazing.
So what movie do they show in theaters?
They show their favorite copy. They show their very best edited version as they would. However, On the Blu-ray bonus features, they make an entirely new movie using a different shot for every single segment of the movie. It basically would take 2 editors or doubling the editing process. I think it would be amazing.
Do you make double the money off that?
Well, I think it would be a gigantic idea for a movie to do it.
Do you think it would be a gigantic cost?
I do. It would take a lot longer, but it would be worth it. People would love watching the movie. Take Hunger Games: Catching Fire, for example. A lot of the times Katniss will be speaking with President Snow or something, and they'll show the back angle of President Snow's head and focus in on Katniss while she's talking and while he's talking. Switch that around for that angle. Every single angle is different than the other one. It would be an amazing way to rewatch a movie.
That's quite an idea. Mark, can you get one of our sponsors to patent that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we could or not. Do you have a particular sponsor in mind?
Platinum? John Just?
John Just Optical or John Mannix could do it.
I feel like John might be able to get us a patent. No questions asked. Winkety wink there, John. Thanks again for the sponsorship. My random thought is there any day of the week or year that mattresses aren't on sale?
Yeah, they're terrible.
I mean, every commercial on the radio.
That's genius, Mark. I've thought that so many times before.
My thought is, how come when a man talks dirty to a woman, it's harassment, but when a woman talks dirty to a man, it costs $3.95 a minute?
Too true. Too true.
And now that we've lost all of our female viewership,
Oh, sorry, ladies. There's not any listening. And, folks, that is the random thought. We're looking forward to March Madness. As everyone here says, Florida is the easy favorite to win the whole thing. If you pick anything else, you're wrong. Clearly, Max picked something else. Thanks for tuning in again, folks.
And as Jordan would not say, it's not better luck this year, it's
better luck.
Next year.